We are going live. Junior Eurovision 2023 has just come to a close. This is super exciting. France, they have gone back to back. Not back to black, back to back, winning for a second straight year. That is simply incredible. Jonathan is on the line. Hello.
Hello.
Lucy is on the line. Hello.
Bonsoir.
And it is time for us to discuss those results. I am just padding this beginning a little bit as people join. 75 people have joined. Thank you for joining us in the chat. Oh my goodness. Lil Catherine says hello. Jillian says hello. Helly888 says hello. Katarina says hello. Ewan Crab says hello.
Yeah,
all right,
no,
you guys. We're here. Let's just get a first reaction. We'll go through the results in a second, but just your first reaction on the overall show and the winner, Jonathan.
I think the overall show was really good. Like, when I was watching it, I realized that Junior Eurovision has just taken this massive leap forward in like the past 5-8 years. Like, when I started at Weebly Blogs, we were going about how, the decline of Junior Eurovision, and they were, only doing jury votes because the public weren't engaged with it. And now to see what it has become, and also just the quality of the songs. Like, there were at least, 10 songs that I thought, had a good chance of getting up there to the top of the scoreboard. France, I think, were certainly in there from the start, and they did an amazing job with this. I think whilst they provided this really great big stage for the actual show, they were very clever, and actually they brought us all into this sort of smaller world for Zoe's performance on that smaller square stage with the lighting effects, the piano. So it didn't look too big, it didn't look too empty on the stage, having the dancers in there as well. She sung amazingly. I think people, even before rehearsals and even throughout rehearsals, was sort of suggesting, this is one to watch. This is one that the jury is really going to get behind. And then obviously the public got behind it as well, topping both sections. So I think we can say it was certainly a well-deserved victory.
Yeah, I mean, that was the kind of conversation since the beginning of the season of Junior Eurovision, wasn't it? Like, oh, France, are they going to win again? Because, this is 3 and 4. It's not just back-to-back wins. This is 3 wins in 4 contests. Like, this is nuts. So, I think it was always there. And then the song came out. It was really catchy. And, Junior Eurovision, you need that, strike that balance between kid-friendly and also still modern. And I think that this has done that really well. But more on that in a bit. I think the show itself was absolutely brilliant. The quality of the songs, like, I never really used to watch Junior Eurovision, but I've watched a few contests here and there, and this is so much better than I ever remember it being. Like, overall, the quality. There were points of song I was like, Poland's winning, Germany's winning. They didn't, obviously, but there was like several songs throughout the show. I was like, this could win, and that could win, and this could win. There was so many, right? Like, so many different genuine contenders. And it was just lovely to see. As a delusional Brit, it's always nice to watch when we have a vague chance of top 5. So it was lovely for that. But no, just the quality of the show was fab. I think the size of the room it was held in was just right, because it still felt like an arena, but it was quite a bit small, wasn't it? So I think it was just really lovely to see. It looked like a really good atmosphere in there. And yeah, well done, France.
Absolutely. I'm just going to quickly read some comments. Bruno Cruz says, the quality of the show was amazing. It surpassed last year for me. Sam B says, Albania's live vocals. Wow, Albania was amazing. Shona says, I think it's great the UK came 4th. A top 5 result for the UK is a win for me. Incredible work from the UK delegation. Jake Abrahamson says, they really need to change the first order draw. Spain and the Netherlands last year were potential winners until that happened. And Inaki Urian Badia says, France deserved to win. Real fair winner in my opinion. Face red heart shape. All right, before we move on, let's actually just quickly review the overall result. This is the overall result. First place was France, second place was Spain, third was Armenia, fourth was the United Kingdom, fifth was Ukraine, sixth was Poland, seventh was the Netherlands, eighth was Albania, and then on the right-hand side of the scoreboard, we have Germany, then Malta, then Italy, then North Macedonia, then Portugal, Georgia, Estonia, and Ireland. Now, I just want to talk about Spain. Spain managed to come second after opening the show. After opening the show. That is incredible. What I liked about Spain is it was very sweet, right? It wasn't a Mariah Carey Jr. performance. No. It was just tender. I got my suitcases. I've got my girls and my friends. We're going on holiday, and I'm going to say je t'aime, ich liebe dich, I love you, whatever. It was just very pure. And what kind of breaks my heart is in the final voting, when they had Zoe on screen, and then they had that amazing Sandra on screen. They were both so tense and stressed out. And like, you just wanted to give them both a hug. That was really, really tense. And in fact, I have that photo right here on my desktop. And through the power of technology, no, I'm not going to risk it. I'm not going to risk it. But anyways, it's on our Twitter account. What are your thoughts on Spain? Both Jonathan and Lucy and all of you listening out there on YouTube.
I mean, I wanted Spain to win in that last minute when it was between the two of them. By the way, I just want to say, God, why did they have to long it out for 5 minutes? At the end, with France and Spain, these are kids. That's not fair. Just give them the result. But no, like, I mean, Spanish fans of Eurovision are passionate. And I kind of wanted them to get this result because, I mean, Brits have been in the same boat as Spain many times. We always end up in it together, like with Chanel and Sam Ryder and whatever. So I kind of wanted Spain to get it because I thought it was such a lovely little song and it was really sweet. It was so well done. And like you said, like she performed first, like, and she still managed to do that. So I did want Spain to clinch it at the last second. I really did. I thought it was just so lovely, but alas, she didn't. But Spanish fans can still look at this, and I'm sure they will look at it this way. They can still be really proud of second, and I mean that. Like, they can really take that as a victory. I'm sure it's going to go down great on social media, but I really, really hope they embrace this for what it is. They have still come second in a contest.
I've added the photo to the screen, I think. You should be seeing the photo right now.
Fingers crossed. But yeah, no. So I just hope it gets taken as a joyous moment that it is, and just roll with it, guys. Enjoy it. Came second. Great. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think Sandra's performance reminded me quite a lot of Valentina's winning performance for France in 2021. Just this really wholesome, cheery number that kids can get behind, even like teenagers can get behind. It's not like too sweet and sacrilegious that, you know, you sort of moody teenager isn't really going to get on board with it. It just felt really lovely to watch, and it was such an incredible opening to the show. Like, the staging and the suitcases and the fireworks going on in the background and that sort of final camera moment with the pyro as well was just really captivating. I mean, even with the televote, there was only, what, like 6 points between France and Spain at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 6 points between France and Spain at the top. So to be that close to winning the televote from first position is really well done. Obviously, you know, Junior Eurovision voting is open from Friday, so there are people who've been voting for Spain for the past 2 days or whatever. But even within that, it is such an incredible achievement for Spain and Sandra. And if they, you know, we sort of said this with France when they returned in 2018, that there was just this idea that they were very much going to be this powerhouse nation. We could sort of tell that they were going to win eventually. And I feel like we can very much feel that with Spain as well, considering where they have been over the past few years, coming second now. It's very much bubbling up that a Spanish Junior Eurovision victory is potential over the coming years if they just sort of continue on this path. And it will, you know, be a really glorious moment for them when it comes.
And can I just say, if you guys are watching on the YouTube live stream, please hit that like button. Let's see those blue thumbs going up. And also, I want to read some comments now from people about Spain. WOV Nub says, Spain is really determined to win Eurovision because of Chanel's slow-mo. I wished they won. Finns says, Spain coming second despite performing first, proving you can do well in any draw. And Jace Book says, Spain was the perfect opener for the show. Great way to draw the viewers in. A lot of love for Spain on our channel. That's beautiful to hear. Can I just
relate to one of the comments there a second? The first one you read out about Spain is so passionate to win now because of Chanel. Sorry to keep going about the UK, but Sam Ryder happened, and look, we've come 2 top 5s in Junior Eurovision as well. That little victory, like doing well in a contest, can then spur you on. It will change everything. Look, May Muller was maybe a bit of a hoot, but you know, like it's these delegations, they get these like near victories, and it will change your game in Eurovision completely, both contests.
All right, so I just want to bring up, we talked a little bit about voting. You can vote, you know, for your own country. Voting's open a few days before. This is a really sort of controversial thing. Someone pointed out that in the rules, there is a secret formula applied to kind of counteract against, I guess, too many people from their own country voting for themselves or something. There's not a lot of transparency around it because the EBU doesn't want the secret out, because then people can work against the formula. What's your opinion on countries being allowed to vote for themselves? Let's start with Lucy, as Jonathan already kind of touched on it.
If I'm being like, if I'm giving an overall perspective, I'd say I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's the best shout. I mean, selfishly, I loved it. If you think I voted for Stand Unique twice, yes, I did. I voted on Friday, I voted today. Absolutely. So I'm being a hypocrite, and I will acknowledge that. I don't think it's the best shout, and I think it should be taken away maybe. But then at the same time, you look at it, like France, clearly that it was 90-something points they got from the televote, or whatever you want to call it. And that hasn't all come from French people. Like, that's, you know, Spain, 80-something points. Like, that isn't just Spaniards. So, you know, we can say, oh, they only got X points because people are allowed to vote for their own country. It's not. It's not. People are getting high points because it's a good song. But I don't know, it just seems a bit weird to me when in the adult contest you can't. So why can you in the kids contest? I don't know. I'm just a bit cynical, especially kids who can't maybe rationalise, like, oh, well, you know, I saw somebody post their kid was giving scores out of 100 and they put 0 next to Spain and then 1,000 out of 100 for the UK. Kids will just think, well, my country song is the best, whether or not it is. So if it's a kids contest, I don't know, I think maybe we should make it more like the adult ones, where they do have to think about the other songs and they can't show that bias yet, because kids haven't got that perspective yet. So yeah, no, I don't think it's fair, but I am a hypocrite because I did vote for Stand Unique.
Lil Catherine says, because anyone in the world can vote, I don't think it matters that much. And Bruno Cruz says, I think it's a good idea for Junior Eurovision because at the end of the day, children shouldn't get 0 points. That's a very interesting point. And maybe that's part of the motivation for letting people vote for themselves. It kind of works against that. Jonathan, is there anything you wanted to add?
I think you've got to remember that you have to vote for 3 countries. So even if you're voting for your own country, you have to vote for 2 others as well. So essentially, you're always going to be giving more points to some other countries than just your own. So that is sort of a counterbalance. And I think the online vote has been one of the things that's just helped to re-energize Junior Eurovision over the past few years. I think it's been able to get more people involved with the show, because particularly younger generations, voting by phone or text is just not really going to be something that they do that much. Sort of an online presence is a lot more useful for Gen Z and other sort of generations like that. So yeah, I think personally, whilst yes, there's still part of me that's like it's not quite fair, I'm quite happy to have that in Junior Eurovision. I think it suits the format quite well, just the more sort of heartwarming and bringing people together and just sort of getting people involved in that sort of situation. I wouldn't want them to implement it in the adult contest. I think if they did it there, it would go way overboard and we'd have sort of real stand boats going on and stuff like that. But I think it does work for Junior Eurovision.
Now, I want to quickly talk about Armenia, who finished 3rd overall, just behind Spain. And in the jury vote, Armenia was placed 2nd, so 2nd with the jury. There was a lot of hype for this, a lot of love for this. When this video came out, I was floored. I thought they deserved to do well, but I must say the translation to the stage, I lost a little bit of the energy I had from the music video. I did like that dragon though. That kind of big old dragon that was there for no reason. Hey, you don't need a reason. It was giving visuals and it was giving heat. But regardless of, some people will be disappointed that Armenia didn't win, but this is a great result. To come 2nd with the jury and to finish 3rd overall, Armenia is a powerhouse of this competition. You guys on YouTube, shout out your comments about Armenia and let's get an opinion from Lucy.
I do like this song. It wasn't in my top 5 when we did a jury, but I do really like it. I can appreciate it for, I think something like that would almost be better at adult Eurovision. I think it was a bit like a 16, 17-year-old performer at adult Eurovision. I think it was just, it came across, I don't know, just a bit too almost twee, but then the actual song was really badass. Like, it was really cool. So something with like that power and ferocity, I think kids maybe want something a little bit sweeter. I don't know. But I do think that as performers, they were awesome. And I got what they were going for with the whole K-pop thing. I thought they were really cool, but I can understand why France and Spain scored higher than them at the same time.
And writes, congrats for Armenia. They got the exact amount of points as last year. Now, they typed pints, but I'm going to assure they're not talking about pints. Who else? Taj Zaidi says, I feel like they kept the cameras on Armenia too long near the end when they were visibly upset. It's always a tough one. Araz Kadarian says, Armenia robbed by the televotes. Ewan Crab says, Armenia piping Spain to 2nd by just over a point. And Icy Flame, nice name, says, Armenia deserved a win for sure. They've been pumping out quality. Jonathan.
Young girls in your area. This was my favorite sort of studio cut of the year. It's such a dynamic song, and I am a K-pop fan, so it sort of gets on board my sort of area there. I will agree with William that I think, some of what we saw in the studio cut and the music video was lost when we translate it to stage, and I think particularly with this song and the fact that we had so many backing dancers in the music video as well, I think taking away all of that maybe just sort of lost a bit of the finesse a bit. And also when you've got a song with so many dance breaks in as well, there is just that slight risk that, you've got to be able to fill all of those dance breaks as well, whether it be through camera cuts or slick choreography. And if it's not like running 100% throughout the entire thing and things just go slightly off, then it just sort of feels a bit less. But 3rd is still an incredible result. Armenia, only won 2 years ago. They are very much in contention. I don't think there's any sense that considering they have won just recently in a very similar sort of setup in terms of online voting and stuff like that, it's not like the format this year was banned for them in any way whatever. Young girls really delivered a very energetic performance. They had amazing staging. They can certainly be very proud of this, and I'm sure they'll be going home to a very good reception.
And we're going to go back to the YouTube live chat. WOV Nub says, if the staging was different, more engaging with backgrounds or positions, Armenia would have won. And OO says, I find K-pop boring now. All right. Well, not everyone's going to be into K-pop. That's fine. All right, we're going to turn to the United. No, we're not. We're going to take some more comments. Sylvie the Cute Sylvian says, I feel this is a hot take, but me and my best friend was watching Junior Eurovision and we loved Portugal. And I welled up as well as my best friend straight up cried. There is some love from Portugal there. And Now we're going to move on to the United Kingdom. They came a very good 4th place with the jury, and then overall they also finished in 4th place. I'm going to quickly get some comments from our YouTube channel. UK, Liam Allen Lindsay says, the UK should have won Best Staging and Performance of the Night. A says, I'm shocked that the UK came 4th, but nevertheless happy for my home. Lil Catherine says she was rooting for the UK, among a number of others. And Trey Jackson said, yeah, but UK vocals were off. Okay, let's actually start with me. So the staging was incredible. I thought the staging looked so cool. They sort of did what they did in their music video, but then they amped it up with some augmented reality. It looked like they were on a skyscraper. It was, I don't know, it gave me Japanese manga futuristic vibes. It also gave me like New York City Gotham Batman vibes. Yeah, it just looked incredible. Dan Shipton, you just got to keep slaying for the UK, because this staging, ever since he's been like the man, it's just been incredible. We're going to leave James Newman to the side. I still don't blame him for those trumpets. Vocally, at least where I was, I couldn't tell if they were off or if the mixing was bad, but like it was almost like the sound was coming in and out, at least on my television here in the United Kingdom. And so something vocally was off. It could have been technical, it could have been vocal, I don't know. I just know that when this came on in the recap, they didn't feature the vocals, they featured the dancing. I thought that was really interesting. But look, it worked because they did well. And this was polished. It had polish. And so well done for the UK once again, 2nd year in a row. You know, Freya Sky may have won the online vote, but Stand Unique with a 3, they actually finished better overall. They came 4th place. So, you know, it's progress. Lucy.
I am so happy for them. And realistically, I do think 4th was the right result for them. They deserve top 5. You know, end of the day, their direct competition, if we're being like judged like this, was Armenia, because it was a girl band with a high camp pop song. I think Armenia did it slightly better. But I am so proud of these girls. They did so well. I do have to acknowledge the thing you said about the vocals, William. There was one member, and I'm not naming them, one member at the beginning of their solo bit, I couldn't really hear them, and I felt like they were struggling a bit. But I mean, anxiety, it must be really scary for them in that moment. But they were so professional. They got over it pretty quickly, and it still was just awesome. The staging, oh my God. I mean, that's the best staging Dan Shipton's ever done, possibly. He's done better than the Lucy Jones staging, which I didn't know he could do. So yeah, no, the staging was nuts. It really reminded me, like, this is maybe a bit of a niche reference for non-Brits, but Little Mix's DNA video. It's like really on skyscrapers, and they're like superheroes stood in like a gloomy kind of rainy city. It looks really cool. It really, I mean, that adds to the comparisons with Little Mix with these girls, which, I mean, if you're getting compared to Little Mix, you're doing something right. Like, they were so good. When they came together, being like, it was like so camp, so fun. I loved it. Like I said, I do think 4th was right. They weren't the best on the night, being non-biased, but they were really, really good. And I'm so proud of those girls. They did so great. And, you know, this just keeps propelling the BBC to pump money into Eurovision, which is what I want. So, yeah. You know, I mean, obviously for adult contests, they've already chosen their artist, as we already know, because they've announced that, which is a good sign. But, you know, Freya Sky's result inevitably contributes to that, because we're doing well after Sun Rider, we're keeping it going. And then, bam, this is going to continue that train. The UK can keep moving on. Adult Eurovision is the next thing for us. Serena Sawayama. But, like, you know, we just got to keep going, keep putting this effort in with Junior Eurovision. Because let me tell you, like, the advertising I'm getting everywhere for Junior Eurovision, I'm watching football and an advert for Junior Eurovision comes on. Like, it's so heavily put out there by the BBC now, and they need to keep pushing this momentum. Lee Smithhurst is doing amazing things. He's on the delegation, and the team at Black Skull Creative, Dan Shipton and Go, just really amazing. So, yeah. Go,
Black
Sammy.
Skull going for gold, honey. Before we get Jonathan's take, let's get some comments from the YouTube live stream. And if I read your comment, give us a like. Hit that smash button. Wait, smash that like button.
And
All right.
subscribe whilst you're at it.
Oh yeah, do that, babes. Liam Allen Lindsay says, the UK were the winners in my opinion. I do need to see more on the UK in the adult contest before I see the UK as turning a quarter in the contest, both junior and adult. Nil Era says, UK stage performance was too much overproduced. Too many effects, not for me. Icy Flame says, UK was my second favorite after Armenia. They were amazing and their staging super original. Lee Fern 42, UK by far the best staging. Taj Zaidi, I feel like the UK could have elevated the end of the song for sure, but amazing regardless. And Lavi Reagan says, I think the UK staging with the buildings underneath took away from the song. Jonathan.
Overall, I am obviously loving the UK Renaissance at both Eurovision and Junior Eurovision. So I will quite happily take fourth place. It is an amazing result. Top 5 is absolutely well deserved. Stand Unique can be so proud of this. And I hope they remember this sort of day and moment for years to come. And I'm sure it'll be, one of the top things that they potentially do in their lives. I think the performance was good. I would slightly agree with one of the comments we had that it was maybe slightly overproduced. I think there was a lot of visual effects going on, and it did make me think they've some reason taken a leaf out of Poland's book and just thrown so many different visual effects on the screen that it just sort of takes away ever so slightly from everything going on. But I think it only just crossed the line for me. I think overall it was a very slick production. I think because, again, like with Armenia, there were so many dance breaks involved with there and the sort of different changes in sort of production that you did need to sort of have those wide shots just to help with the transitions and sort of give people a bit more of a visual cue to things, because it could have very well flatlined if they sort of didn't have some of those visual effects in there and they were doing all those dance breaks on the sort of singular platforms, so to speak. But yeah, no, I think overall very well deserved, and I'm really proud.
Now, we've got to talk about Albania, who placed, let's see, they placed 4th with the jury. Is that right? No, 5th with the jury. Albania was 5th with the jury with 70 points. And I bring this up because we're getting a lot of comments on the YouTube live stream asking about Albania. MK Dutta says, Albania's vocals were amazing. Lucas BB says, hello, I'm from Albania. Will you comment on it? Yes, we will comment on Albania. Lavi Reagan says, all the results under the top 5 were a complete surprise. I don't think anyone expected things like Albania and Georgia. It's really interesting. The jury clearly rewards big voices. We see this a lot at Junior Eurovision. They love a kid who can belt it out. And Albania's vocals, I mean, those were like Fick level voices, right? You could give her a few years, she'll be in Festival Ikungas adult. That's obvious, right? Albania produces kind of like Malta, big voices. They love big voices. And Our Girl was giving it. Icy Flame says, Albania being top 10 after being bashed on YouTube lists everywhere was great. And Trey Jackson echoes that statement. Trey Jackson says, I saw Albania last in a lot of fan predictions, but I always thought that if the song translates well on stage, it has potential to get a good placement. People have been sleeping on Albania. Albania flag emoji. Live for that passion, Trey Jackson. What did you guys make of Albania?
I didn't underestimate her. She was in my top 5 on the Wee jury. I'm just saying. I thought she was great. I just want to bring North Macedonia into this conversation as well. Albania and North Macedonia were what I would wish those two countries would send to adult Eurovision. Like, North Macedonia was my favourite of the year. Both of them gave me that vibe. Like, this is kind of in the vein of what you can do, but it's the quality of adult Eurovision. So send this to adult Eurovision, please. Please. Like, they were both so good. And vocal talent in Albania was nuts, like so good. And she was arguably the best vocalist of the year for me. I just thought it was beautiful how she sang it. I'm really, really pleased. I think I tweeted at one point during it, like, I'm just so happy Albania's done well with the jury. It's not been ignored. And there were lots of songs that were brilliant that were ignored, Ireland. But, like, I'm just so pleased Albania did well. Like, they deserved a decent result, and they got one. So, yeah, I'm pleased.
Well, Ocean Vision agrees. Albania was my winner since the beginning. That being said, I never expected them to score that well after how it got received pre-live show. Never been more happy to be so wrong. Love the result, and we love you, Ocean Vision. Jonathan.
I mean, I think this just shows, you can't judge everything just based on the studio cuts. When you get to the live performance, things do change. And I agree with Lucy. I think Viola was the best vocalist of the night. There was not a bum note in sight during performance. And it was just, I sort of just sat there watching it. It was like, she is the vocalist of the competition. I think it's interesting, though, that when you talk about the jury vote sort of favouring big voices, you actually look at the top 4, France, Armenia, Spain, United Kingdom, whilst good vocalists, they weren't like power ballads. So it's power ballads are not the only thing that the jury goes for. Look at Loreen in Eurovision this year as well. That was not a power ballad, but it still wiped the floor with the juries across the entire competition, really. I think I also just want to bring North Macedonia into this slightly, because in terms of the ballads before the competition, North Macedonia was very much the one to beat, essentially. Everyone was loving North Macedonia. And I do think, unfortunately, the staging was not quite where it needed to be for tomorrow. While she did an amazing job, I think it felt slightly empty. And both Viola and Tamara were on the stage by themselves. That neither of them had any dancers, but Albania were just able to fill the stage a bit more with their camera cuts, and also I think the color choices, the coldness of North Macedonia's sort of first half, where it was all very light blue and a sort of very sort of grey outfit. I don't think it was necessarily warm enough to sort of really capture people in and sort of draw people into their hearts, so to speak, which is maybe where the sort of disconnect began to sort of appear in things. But yeah, not taking anything away from Viola, I think very well deserved result there.
And rounding out the top 5 overall was Ukraine, Anastasia with Kvitka Flower. Now, it's interesting, Jonathan, you and I both put this in our top 3 pre-contest, and I think for the same reason. This was Junior Eurovision of yesterday, when the kids had to write their own songs, and the songs were not always polished, and the songs were often very basic, but there was joy. There was light, there was love. It was just so sweet, and it felt real, and that's what this gave me. This is not the most complicated song you're ever going to hear. She repeated flower like 95 times, and that's why I loved it. It was just so lovely, and she's such a performer, and it balanced sort of sweet and childish with a big old voice, a big old powerful voice when she needed it. And our YouTube followers in the live stream, they are commenting. They say, this is Cool Guy, I think Ukraine deserved the place it got. Kvitka was so infectious, and I got hooked. Icy Flame says the song was annoying for her, but she's happy for her. Trey Jackson says Kvitka... Why is this on my mouth? Wait. Trey Jackson says Kvitka is still stuck in my head. That's why it did so well in the televote. It is very catchy. Aaron Zamet says, Anastasia looked so tiny on the stage, but what an incredible stage presence. Very cute, but also such a mature performance for only 9 years old. And Nuna Nana says, Ukraine ate down for real, y'all. Her song is the only one I have on repeat. And SNS22 says, Ukraine deserved that top 5 so much. Let's just remember, this child, she's been spending the past few years in war. Right? And then she said in the green room, the happiest moment for her of the journey was winning in Ukraine. And she was being sincere. A lot of people, adults or kids, come off scripted in the green room. She was speaking from her heart, and I just found that really, really emotional and very, very sweet. So well done her, and well done to her team. Because, like, it's hard enough to prepare in normal time, let alone in the situation they're in. So hats off to Ukraine. Lucy.
Before the contest, I didn't like this at all. But tonight, I got it. I understood why people liked it when I saw it in context. I mean, her outfits, everything, she was so cute. And I was like, okay, no, I get it. Like, the hook kind of annoyed me on the studio cut. But when it was actually on stage tonight, I thought it was really lovely. And she just sold it really well. And I can see kind of like, end of the day, I was looking at it as an adult, a cynical adult. And I can understand that kids watching it will have a very different perspective of it than me, and people who can understand these perspectives better than I can. So, you know, I understand that a lot of people would really enjoy this, where maybe it isn't my cup of tea. End of the day, the contest isn't for people like me, really. It's aimed at kids. So it's really wonderful to have something so, when I say childish, I don't mean in a negative way. I mean it like it is a child making a song for children. It was the smile on her face, and she had really good stage presence. Like, if I was 9 on a stage, I'd be terrified. Yet she looked so confident, and no, yeah, she did a really, really good job. And yeah, no, she absolutely deserved that top 5 result.
Jonathan.
Yeah, as you said, this has been one of my favorites from the start. That kvitka refrain just loops and loops and loops in my head. And again, it's another example. She performed 3rd, I think it was, on the night, and still finished 3rd in the televote. You know, performing very early, but still very memorable. And I think it stood out as in, it was, I guess, the most upbeat song that sort of drew on from traditional influences. It was sort of the only one of its type, and you know, Anastasia, as you said, is just so adorable. You can't just not look at that performance and be like, "Oh." And I think a lot of Europe was just sort of feeling that warmth towards her. You know, the pinks and the flowers, and the sort of the you know, the visual effects in there as well. It was sort of just at the right level. They didn't bombard you with loads of things. There was just a smattering in there to sort of keep your attention in there for the full 3 minutes. So yeah, I'm really happy for Ukraine. You know, up from their result last year, and yeah, sort of very well deserved.
Absolutely. And I'll just round that out with some comments from our folks on the YouTube live stream. Sylvie the Cute Sylvion says, I think Ukraine's song is going to be the one where it will be stuck in my head. Staging was empty, but oh my God, bless her soul. She is adorable, and she used what she had and ate up. I am living for these colloquial expressions. And then Mandarin Citrus says, loving Kvitka. It's like an earworm that got to my brain, ate the house down, and left no crumbs. And Hannah Whitening says, Ukraine's song sounded like something they could have sent to adult Eurovision. But such a young, talented performer. And yeah, it has some Go A vibes in that there was... This had an identity, is what we're trying to say. Yeah, there was an identity here. Now, can we talk about Germany? Because on Twitter, everyone was like basically suggesting they were in tears. This was so heartfelt. Germany was so sweet. It was pure. It was authentic. It was tender. The whole message, talking to my sister who cannot hear, I don't need words. We have love. That was beautiful. And the juries now, I'm not going to hate on the juries, but wait. The juries put our girl, yeah, they didn't rate our girl highly, but then the online vote really helped Germany out. From 33 jury points, they finished with 107 overall points. So 74 in the public vote. That was, oh my gosh, was that 3rd? No, 4th.
4th.
Yeah.
4th in the public vote, Germany. Well done. Thoughts on Germany, Jonathan?
I think it's certainly good to see Germany climbing up the scoreboard at Junior Eurovision, because I think they finished last in like the sort of previous two run-ins. So I think, really good for Fia to sort of really climb them up. I would have liked them to have just shifted onto the left-hand side. I think they were sort of like top of the right-hand side in the end. So yeah, I was quite surprised that the juries didn't go for this as much as they did. I like to say, juries are human as well. So I would have thought that, the message of this would have come across to them as well. I think beforehand, I was slightly worried that, definitely Germany's best song that they've sent to the Junior Eurovision contest. But it was, I guess, a bit more of a mid-tempo pop song. So I worried a bit whether normally that sort of mid-tempo level, you can become a bit forgettable. But it was really nice to see that the public really responded to this really well. And I, like much of the public, was very on board with this. I voted for Germany. Just the sign language throughout, I think, was really nice. I think there would have been a lot of people and kids at home who really just appreciated seeing an entire song with sign language. I assume German sign language is maybe slightly different to sign language in other sort of countries, but just sort of that overall. Pardon?
It was Makaton. It's a universal version.
Okay, universal version. So yeah, I think just having that on there, that was the thing for me that sort of really helped it stand out amongst all the other performances. So yeah, sort of really well done.
We've got a lot of comments about Germany in this live stream. ESC Germany writes, 2020 we placed last. 2021 we placed third last. Well, they are certainly excited. They came nowhere near last this time. Cool Guy says, being someone who knows sign language, Germany truly had a personal connection to me, and I'm so glad it got high in the televote. That's lovely. Trey Jackson says, jury robbed Germany so hard. I wasn't a fan of the song before the live show, but I now understand why so many people like it so much. Metro Wake 11 says, Germany did such a great job too. Underrated so much by the juries, but a big public vote. I call those scenarios Kino moments, where juries underestimate fan favorites. Lil Catherine, who is from Norway, says, Germany was cute. The juries weren't feeling it, though. I found that a bit weird. Yeah, again, going back to the voice thing, they don't always, need the Mariah Carey moment, but I felt like Fia's voice is very different, right? She was not going for anything kind of out there. She was keeping it sweet. She was keeping it within this range, and that was fine because it was authentic. It was real. For me, maybe the jurors thought the staging was a bit empty, maybe, compared to what was around it. I don't know. I love that song. It was in my top 3, and I voted for Germany before the show and during the show because she tugged on heartstrings. Like, I don't know. I feel like some jurors maybe want the slick performance, right? It's all about that performative aspect, the TV production. But this was just a girl singing with a sweet message. And for me, that's more than enough. So, slay Germany. That was beautiful. What country should we talk about next? Oh, the Netherlands. The Netherlands. Y'all, there are a lot of comments coming in about the Netherlands. Jonathan, off the top of your head, do you remember where they placed with each? I have the jury vote. In the jury vote, they were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th in the jury vote, the Netherlands. And Jonathan, how did they do it? 5th with the public. Well, Esme Brueggemann says, Netherlands robbed. Mila VW, how did the Netherlands only get 7th? Dean Huleman, the Netherlands is so criminally underrated in JESC, it's a joke at this point. Wouldn't be surprised if the Netherlands would leave the contest, especially... Nah, they're not leaving. They ain't gonna leave. The Netherlands love this. MK Dutta says, I think the Netherlands doesn't win because mostly their staging remains the same from the national competition. And Danny Newman says, the Netherlands was a top 5 act. Did you say they are a little bit underrated? They received almost always top 5 or even top 3 in fan polls. You guys, let me just start by saying, I liked this. I do think a lot of times, for me, Netherlands staging looks the same as it did. Like, I don't know, I could kind of picture the Dutch staging before I had seen the act, which is not a bad thing. It was dancey, it had a beat, it had a guy, you know, that was one thing that made it stand out. It was a girl and a guy, right? It was like, my husband was with me, he's like, why is all these women? It was like an all-female show. It was all female, then you had Renina, and then you had the Dutch guy, so I was like, surely that will help them. Yeah, long story short, I thought this would do better. I did think this would do better. Lucy.
Yeah, I thought it was going to do better because people seem to really like it. I mean, in our poll, they won it, right? Readers' poll. I thought closing out the show with such an upbeat song, it was going to do a lot better than it did. But I don't know. I'm trying to word this carefully to not be too mean. I found the staging really a bit outdated, a bit tacky with the DJ. But I mean, I suppose for a kids show that doesn't really matter so much. But like, I mean, even the UK commentators, not quite savagery of Graham Norton variety, but they were kind of like, yeah, the DJ's really playing legit, guys, like kind of. And it's just like, I don't know, like when countries are doing much more exciting stuff than that, I just kind of like at the staging. Yasmine was, sorry, I don't know how you pronounce Dutch names. Amazing, awesome vocalist, really good. She was the highlight of the performance, like her vocals specifically. I thought it was really good, but the competition was just really good. It was a really tough competition this year, so somebody has to drop down a bit. And I mean, coming top 10 in this show, to be honest, with the quality is still good. So.
Oh, Jonathan, before you answer, I'm just going to read 2 comments. Katie McCauley says, guys, we are commenting from an adult perspective, not from a teenager point of view. My daughter said the Netherlands was meh. And WOV Nub says, the Netherlands chose a DJ song since they're known for famous DJs, but I feel DJ songs always do bad. That makes me think of Halo from Austria, didn't qualify. Yeah. Darude from Finland, didn't qualify. Grome featuring Lucas Meyer, didn't qualify. DJs do, in fact, struggle. Jonathan.
Yeah, I think as Lucy said, the competition was just very strong this year. And when you've got the likes of upbeat songs from, France, Armenia, Spain, the United Kingdom, they're not all going to be able to get to the top 4. Someone is going to have to drop down a bit. And I think for me beforehand as well, the Netherlands was sort of just simmering at about a 6-7 for me. So personally, it's sort of where I would have put it, just in terms of like a personal ranking. I think just sort of the light EDM-ness was nice, but it never sort of blew me out of the water, so to speak. I think it was just sort of a bit of a simmering level rather than sort of the boiling that you want to sort of really catch people's attentions. I did think going last, would have really helped them, and I'm sure it probably did in terms of the public vote. Still coming 5th. That is very respectable. I don't think I ever really thought this to be a jury one that the sort of jury would really go for. So I can sort of understand why that would be, slightly lower again at a sort of 7 or 8 or so, and then it sort of rounds out overall. So, it's not a bad result. They're still left-hand side of the scoreboard. I think obviously, a lot of people were sort of very willing for them to sort of go all the way and finish first, which is maybe why it seems slightly disappointing. But I think when you take a step back and just sort of see the result as it is, it's not bad at all. The Netherlands have seen far worse at Junior Eurovision over their sort of 21 years that they've been doing this. So I don't think 7th is going to put them off whatsoever, and they will be, I'm sure, back stronger than ever in years to come.
Yeah, there's some difficult feelings right now from Dutch fans. Noah says, Luna performed first in the show and got 7th. And now we performed last in the show and got 7th. We are always robbed, unfortunately. Your time will come, Noah. Your time will return. Luna was incredible. In my mind, Luna is one of the best JESC acts to come out of the Netherlands, like ever. Even better than some of the acts that won. Yeah, it's a mystery. It is a mystery. You guys, I want to go around now. Let's have a freestyle round. You can say anything you would like. There are a lot of countries we have not mentioned. Malta, Italy, Portugal, Georgia, Estonia, Ireland, Poland. I'll kick this off by saying I'm glad Estonia has joined Junior Eurovision. Thank you for joining the party, and I hope they stay. I think this result, next to last, may be disheartening, but it's the first time Estonia's been in the contest, right? So they'll have learned a lot, right? They'll have learned a lot about choosing a song, about staging, about the way the week works. It'll have increased sort of interest at home. So next year you'll have all these kids applying because they want this prize. So I feel like even though the result is maybe not what they wanted, this is still progress in terms of their Junior Eurovision journey. Because next year, everybody in that country is going to want to be in this competition. Yeah, but it's a hard result. Like, I don't like how at this competition people have to finish last. It makes me sad. In any case, Lucy.
I mean, firstly, what you say about it's sad when kids finishing last, I wish they could block out and just only show the top 10 when things are happening. Because for that, honestly, I can't remember her name, the last from Ireland who sang Aisling. That song was gorgeous. I voted for that in the first round. Like, I thought it was really good, and she didn't deserve to come last, genuinely. So I just want to send some love to Ireland because, I mean, neighbour voting. But no, I thought they were really great. And, you know, Sophie Lennon came on, but it was just a really, really great performance. And I'm sad for her. I just wish they wouldn't show the bottom. And, like, perhaps you see a country progressing into the top 10. I think for kids, it's maybe a bit harsh. But yeah, no, the quality was so good. I mean, Poland as well. By the way, Germany, I was messaging Lou William during the show, wasn't I? Like, Germany might win it, dark horse winner, delulu. But no, Poland was another one where I was like that, like Poland could actually sneak up here because this is great. And oh God, I saw a tweet, I cannot remember who did it, so if they're watching, sorry, I'm stealing your thing. But somebody tweeted like, something's hitting a bit too close to home, that they're going on about the fact she's from a village of 17 people, and she's going, I just need a friend.
Oh, wow.
The commentators were saying that the town she's from is a population of 17. So I think kind of with that information, it was really almost sweet, like sad sweet though. It was really moving. So yeah, Germany, Poland and Ireland and North Macedonia all deserved more love than they got. But this is a competition. Only 5 countries can make it the top 5. Only 10 can make it the top 10. So in a field that was as strong as it is, well done to all the countries that participated. Like you say, Estonia was great. It wasn't one that was pursuing my radar before the show, but she did really well in her performance. And yeah, they all just did so well. They did great.
Yeah, I think similarly, I voted for Ireland in the first round. I thought the song was really magical. I think maybe the sort of starting position of 4th was a bit too early for them, particularly with the amount of ballads that were in the show. But then again, I think in a way, a lot of countries just need to sort of maybe notice how there is this very much been a shift in Junior Eurovision away from ballads. The winners over the past years, and when you just look at the top 5 of France, Spain, Armenia, UK, Ukraine, they're all reasonably upbeat songs. And then the bottom 5 of Ireland, Estonia, Georgia, Portugal, North Macedonia, all the ballads. I think, when the show was so jury heavy during like the 2010s, obviously the ballads did very well. Now that there is this online vote and sort of people are getting more engaged with it, for a junior contest, people don't want to sit through 16 ballads. They will gravitate towards the more upbeat songs, and that is just, I think, what a lot of younger audiences are always going to sort of engage with a lot more. Obviously, you don't necessarily want it to then be 16 upbeat songs, because the one ballad in there would then probably sneak through and take the victory. So you've got to be able to balance it out a bit. But yeah, I think this year there is just this very stark contrast with how the upbeat and the ballad songs have done.
There's some interesting commentary about Ireland in the chat. I'm not going to quote this directly. So one person says that Ireland may have done better if they hadn't mirrored last year's entry, They say 2021 was a better song. This is Peyton the Red. 2021 was a better song and more unique, and there was like a risk of mirroring it. Fans would feel kind of less attached to it. And then another user says, having Sophie, last year's contestant, do the high note makes sense if you understand the song, but if you don't understand the song because you don't speak Irish, it might seem weird for listeners. And then other people have been saying that in the voting recap, it seemed like Sophie was the lead singer rather than the supporting act. Interesting observations. Yeah, to your point, I love a Junior Eurovision dance song because it's like there's always this personality with like kids dance songs, like Ukraine this year, Kvitka Vitka. It just gives a different type of vibe, a kids dance song as opposed to an adult dance song. Ballads, I'm over it. I don't need... At this stage of my life, I want joy. I want joy, and sometimes ballads can just bring one down. Other comments coming in ask about Portugal. Some people are saying this was one of their favorites, underrated, she deserved more. Would either of you like to take that?
I don't really have anything to say. It was good, but it wasn't... I don't want to say a child deserved kind of that lower score because none of them deserve that. But it's not the singer, it's the song itself I thought was maybe a bit... just kind of passed me by. Yeah, it was fine. I think she was great. She performed it really well, and I liked her outfit with the buns up there. She looked great. She sang it really well, but the song itself was the problem for Portugal, I think.
Yindo de Vries writes, Portugal was emotional and hit deep. That performance was pure class. Jonathan.
Yeah, I think for me it was very much the song, like not the singer. It has never really been one that I've gravitated towards amongst all the 16, and amongst the Wee Wee jury as well. It was like the only one to not feature in anyone's top 5 out of the 7 people that we had involved with that. So yeah, I think they did elevate it a bit with the staging. You know, having the dress being ripped off was unique. It was eye-catching. You know, I've never really sort of seen that before. Unfortunately, you know, not enough to sort of lift the song to new heights. So I think sort of, you know, coming, what's that, 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth from the bottom is probably about where I'd expect it to come, unfortunately.
All right, final comment from me. I just want to take it back to the top. France winning. For people who have joined this chat late, you know what? This was classy. When you watching the show, I was watching with my partner, and when that came on, we're like, wow, this just feels so elevated. The way the white lights were used, right? She's on this pink piano heart, but then you see these beautiful lights. It felt so French. And the performer delivered. I thought it was a really good mix, France, of sophisticated and chic, but also teenager, like a young performer. It just felt really natural. And her voice, she kept, you know, there was that French, the element to it. Just everything about it was screaming like French cabaret. And then the kids popped up and it was joyous, but it was serious. It was just classy. France knows how to hit the nail on the head with these Junior Eurovision acts. They kind of choose songs that are sometimes under the radar, like last year, for instance, no one was really talking about it. And then they just can visualize what it's going to look like on stage. And this was perhaps the best translation from music video to stage. They elevated, you know, they made it significantly better. And yeah, it's a deserving winner. I think all of these performances were amazing. And like everyone who finished near the top, you can understand why. And like France, I'm in no way upset they won back to back. Like, this was not one that I voted for. However, I think it's a deserving winner. I think it's lovely. And it's really good television. Like, people, I think, like TV producers, like jurors, often TV producers, they would have respected how this looked and how interesting and arresting it was on TV. At the end of the day, there's a TV show. And like, yes, they're musical people on the juries, but a lot of people are looking at the TV aspect. And this was really well staged.
Who did you vote for, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, not at all. So I voted before the show. I voted on 2 different devices from 2 different accounts. Don't tell. But I voted for Armenia, Ukraine, and Germany the first time. And then the second time, it was Spain, Ukraine, Armenia. And then during the show, I voted France, Germany, Ukraine.
Nice.
Yes. What about you guys? Any thoughts on Zoe before we say au revoir?
Yeah, it was really great. She deserved it, and it's almost like that French, or it's almost had that element of funk to the song, and people comparing it like, haha, Zara, but for kids. Which, yeah, like, it was really great. I think she deserved it, and she just looked so emotional and so happy in the final. Just seeing all the people come in, hugged her, it was lovely. So no, I'm pleased for France they won. I mean, it's always nice to see a Big Five do well. Kind of, it's really great because it brings Junior Eurovision to the Big Five again. It's really nice to see that she's done well. Yeah, no, my votes were North Macedonia, Ireland, and UK beforehand. And then during the show, North Macedonia, UK, and Germany. Because Germany really hit home during the show.
Yeah, I think whilst France's song wasn't necessarily, in my top 5 beforehand, I absolutely see this as a deserving winner. I think the stage show was really well put together. Zoe delivered it flawlessly. So some really great vocals. I think France have just got Junior Eurovision in their grasp. Like, they are now the joint most successful country in the contest's history, alongside Georgia with 3 wins. And to have done that 3 wins in the space of 4 years is quite something. Like, they came back in 2018, and they've just been this dominant force since then. So, they are sort of, I guess, the 90s island of the Junior Eurovision Song Contest. How long it's going to continue, we will see. We may be in France for a few more years to come, over the next decade or so. But yeah, I think it's a case of, it's not France's job to go lower. It's everyone else's job to get higher and sort of learn from them. Take tips from France. What songs are, gravitating both towards the jury and the public, that sort of, child-friendly but sort of very musical element that they have just sort of really grasped. And so, yeah, well done to France.
Grenoble, Aix-en-Provence, Bordeaux, Lille. They better not run out of cities. Dijon, because the way they're going, we might be going to France a lot in the coming years.
Somebody actually tweeted there is 102 venues that hold over 5,000 in France. Somebody found it out.
So by 2222 will be done with all the French cities. This was incredible. Well, look, there's a final point I want to make, and this is coming from our live stream. Alicia Samali writes, can France do the ESC and JESC wins back-to-back with Slimane, their adult singer? They won last year JESC. They won this year JESC. They've chosen one of their biggest stars for the adult ESC. I don't think that the version he's released is the version he'll sing at Eurovision. I have a because why would you release a song so early unless you had something up your sleeve? France is smart. France, they are in this to win this. Well, in this Junior Eurovision video with adult Eurovision thoughts, Jonathan, Slimane.
Well, it was interesting because everyone expected they'd release the song so early because they were going to get Slimane to sing in the interval act at Junior Eurovision, and then he was nowhere to be seen. So it very much begs the question of why they have done this so early, whether it's just this sort of indication to the rest of Europe, this is what we're sending, it's a very good ballad, don't go anywhere near it because you'll have to go up against this sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, obviously it is the only song that we have so far, so it is very hard to judge amongst the supposed 41 countries that will appear on stage next year. I mean, it has been so many years, like what, 40 years since France won the adult contest. I would really love to see them win it. I think, we have never had a double Junior Eurovision and Eurovision victory before. It would make history. So we will see how it plays out.
Oh, Alicia Somali has another comment. The head of delegation didn't want an unfair advantage to Slimane with JESC. That's very logical. Other broadcasters might be like, it's unfair, you're presenting your Eurovision singer. So, oh.
You know what? Do it if you host it. If you're paying for the party, you
can serve the turkey. You can serve dessert first. You can have a salad for afters. You do you. And then
I would just say to that, I don't really think that mass audiences of Junior Eurovision would have that much impact on the eventual result at Eurovision itself. It is a slightly different demographic. I'm sure there will be a lot of younger audiences tuning into Eurovision itself. But I think overall the number of viewers would be so drastically higher at the adult contest that it wouldn't have made a massive amount of difference.
Well, Lil Catherine says Slimane Def could be in contention to win the juries in ESC.
I think he'll win the juries. I don't think he'll win televote, but I'm saying that as we know one song. But I just think maybe not the most televote song, depending on how well the vocals and staging go on the night. But we will see.
If Marco Mignoni comes forth, this is like top 3 material potentially.
Honestly, I always prefer a song when it's remixed. I like literally any song, like Mae Muller's remix, incredible. Lorene's Tattoo remix, incredible. Give me a remix of this ballad. It could just be incredible. Honest, I want Francis to shock us when we get to, where are we going? To Malmo with something totally left field. In any case, we need to wrap this video up. So congratulations, France, Felicitacion and all that. We will be back with lots of adult Eurovision coverage coming very soon. Be sure to hit like and leave your comments about the winner down below.
Follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. So yeah, go follow us all over there.
Is Lucy frozen? Our girl is frozen.
I think so, yeah.
But she would probably say, we'll see you later. Bye. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining.